Welcome to Friday, the 20th of November, 2020. As we head into the upcoming weekend, folks, we have, very quiet weather through Sunday. In fact, a good weekend to get those Christmas lights up. Good weekend to be outdoors or to travel, as it's going to be pretty benign. There'll be some snow showers in the mountains of Colorado and southern Wyoming. There will be a couple of flurries maybe on the plains. Temperatures are going to be a little colder than they've been, but really nothing all that bad. So really for this time of year, the next 3 or 4 days in the region looks pretty darn good. Now we have a lot of questions for next week. Next week's forecast remains a jumbled mess with our computer modeling. So we have a lot of questions. We do see a possible system Monday night, Tuesday. I think that is a system we're getting more confident about. I think it is going to be a snow producer in parts of Wyoming and Colorado and Utah. Not a big storm, but enough if you're traveling then to watch out for it. We have another possible system Thursday and Friday, and then maybe again over the weekend. But boy, again, I put a question mark there because again, we're looking at a lot of questions. Possibly little or no weather is also a possibility. So I'm throwing everything out there. We have the possibility of 2 to 3 storm systems Thanksgiving week and weekend. But if they don't come together, well, we might not really have much of anything. To use a sports analogy, this is like having a high draft pick where you are going to draft a football player in the first or second round. You have high hopes that this person is going to really turn into a great football player, but you don't know. That's kind of what we're looking at. We're looking at a lot of potential for weather, but at the same time, it may not all come together. So you're going to want to stay tuned on Monday, as by Monday, the weather forecast should come into much better clarity. Today's jet stream flow, as you can see, this is why the weather is so quiet. It's just west to east. There's very little in the way of little bumps or loops or dips or ridges or troughs. Just really not much going on. We've got a little system right here. This is what may produce a few mountain flurries. This little guy up here is going to be more directed eastward across southern Canada. And this is the pattern that basically holds through tomorrow. Now, by Monday night into Tuesday, we do see a larger Pacific trough coming in. Again, this is not what I'd call a really strong system, but this is enough to make it snow pretty good in the mountains. And we may see a little bit of snow right here with it as it comes on through Monday night and Tuesday. We'll need to watch that. There's the system up in the Gulf of Alaska. There's another system here that will cause some problems. We always like to count the number of waves. The more the waves, the higher the number of waves in the jet stream, the higher the probability that the computer models are going to have a difficult time. The more waves, the more the models need to track, the more the math gets complicated and the physics gets more complicated. And so what tends to happen is you have a lot of variability in the computer models, and that's exactly what we're seeing. If you conversely drop the number of waves, the models tend to do better. Now, as we go forward, this is for Wednesday night into Thursday. We've got another trough. It's the one that was up here in the Gulf of Alaska. It swings down here and may swing right through here. Maybe, it might. It may all the way go down into here. It may go all the way up into here. We're seeing all bunch of different types of solutions. What I'm showing you here is the European model, which has so far been the most consistent with this system. So as we get into Wednesday night, there's going to be some weather here, and by Thursday morning into Thursday night and Friday, that weather may go along the Continental Divide and east of the Divide, across Wyoming, Colorado, and into the western high plains. As we look forward, if this does come to fruition, this isn't a lot of precipitation, but this is enough. This is cumulative. This is from basically this weekend through next Friday afternoon. And you can see I-80 is impacted. We have some impacts of I-80 and I-15 in Utah, I-25 in Wyoming and Colorado, I-70, I-76. So we're going to have some potential weather coming. Now I want to show you where we could be the following weekend, the weekend after Thanksgiving, because I think this bears close watching. This is the American model, the GFS model, showing that the Thursday-Friday system quickly moves off to the east and moves out, and really doesn't really show a lot of weather around here by next weekend. However, the European model, that is a strong southeastern Colorado low. This is something that we have seen in other Thanksgiving weekends. If you historically look back, I know a lot of you watching and listening to this podcast that have lived in the Rockies have experienced a lot of Thanksgiving weekend snowstorms or weather makers. So the potential is there, at least on some of the modeling, of a Colorado low the weekend after Thanksgiving. Or it might end up being just like this, which is also almost nothing. So this is where the rubber hits the road and trying to figure out, when long-range forecasting, you always got to take into account every possibility. This possibility of little or no weather is just as high of a probability as what could be a lot of weather. So the moral of the story is, be ready to tune in to Monday's podcast and we'll see where we end up. Needless to say, for the next 4 days, there's nothing going on, but after that, it gets a lot more interesting. So have a good weekend. Enjoy the quiet weather. We'll have more details for that Thanksgiving week on Monday. Have a good weekend.